As we're still waiting for others to join our meeting, there is a live poll link in the chat box for SJC sites to fill out. So if you've joined us, can you please take a few minutes to fill out our live poll that we'll use for discussion later on in our meeting. Thank you so much. Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Please take a few minutes to fill out the live poll. There is a link in the chat box. We're going to use this poll for discussion later on in the meeting, so we really appreciate you taking a few minutes and answering the 5 or 6 questions we have. Please let me know if you have any trouble accessing the live poll, and we'll get started in 1 minute. All right, welcome. Thank you to everyone that's joined our meeting today, especially for the West Coast people where it's quite early, so we really appreciate your attendance and engagement this morning. I am Stephanie Shaw here with the Council of State Governments Justice Center. I'm a project manager with the Justice Center, and I'm the point person on this project. Here at the Justice Center, we're focused on criminal justice and developing research-driven and consensus-based strategies to increase public safety and strengthen communities. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Hallie and Thomas. Hallie, would you take a minute to introduce yourself? Everybody's on mute, or no?
I just unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, great. Good morning, everybody. Stephanie, can you hear me?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for the opening. And I'm gripping my coffee here out in California. Looking forward to hearing from you all. As Stephanie said, I'm a program director with the behavioral health team at the Justice Center, and we're very excited to be kicking off this effort with you all today. Having worked with programs around the country on justice and mental health projects or justice and behavioral health projects, we know that one of the challenges is how to sustain the work that you're doing, especially when it starts through a new funding source like a grant. We've seen communities thrive with this, sometimes with really clever grant managers, and also struggle with it where they're not able to sustain a project or a position that everybody believes is beneficial just because they're not able to identify funding in time to keep it going. So we're really looking forward to hearing from you both your clever strategies as well as the challenges that you anticipate in sustaining your MacArthur-funded work, and looking forward to working together to put together some tools and some strategies to position you all and others to sustain the good work you're doing. So I'm very much looking forward for the conversation. Thanks.
Thanks, Hallie. And I'm also joined today by my colleague, Thomas. Thomas, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. My name is Thomas Coyne. I'm a senior policy analyst here at the Justice Center, where I work on our housing portfolio and helped with some of the research for the project. And yeah, it's like Hallie said, it's always interesting to look at all the different facets of funding, and really, especially coming from some of the housing-based work in this, with all the very many different ways to pull funding together just for one building, much less larger community efforts. So, thank you, Stephanie. I'll turn it back on over.
Great. Thanks so much, Thomas. In addition to the Justice Center, we have our project partners on the call, the National Criminal Justice Association, and we're joined by Deb and Matt. Deb and Matt, would you take a second to introduce yourselves, please?
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Deb Matute. I'm with the we are worked with your
Hey, Deb, we're having a little trouble hearing you. Sorry.
Okay.
That was better.
Okay. NCJA works with each state at their grant fund. So we are working with you, Matt.
Hey, Deb, sorry. So sorry. We're still having some trouble hearing you.
This is Matt. Can you all hear me?
Oh, hey, Matt. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with Deb. Anyway, yeah, this is Matt Wade and Deb Matute with the NCJA. We're a nonprofit. Happy to be a part of this project. Deb kind of wears many hats for our team. She'll be coordinating a lot of the work that you'll see here today. I back her up and mainly support her in the training and technical assistance role with the many states that we work with. But we're kind of just here to observe and help out however we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So in addition to our partners, we also have the Safety and Justice Challenge sites, and I'd love for you all to introduce yourselves to us. And when you do, if you could please share your name, your role, and your favorite funding source, that would be really excellent. I'm just going to go through the county list to make it a little easier for us this morning. So when I call out your county, please let us know if you're here. So Allegheny County, do we have anyone on the call? It looks like maybe Molly.
Yes, hi, this is Molly Morrill. I'm the project director for our Safety and Justice Challenge project. Oh.
And what's her name again?
Oh,
Thanks,
sorry.
Molly. Oh, go ahead. Do you have a favorite funding source you'd like to share with the group?
The MacArthur Foundation.
Awesome.
And I'll just mention, I also invited, I believe she's on the call, Kira from our Allegheny County Department of Human Services, who has a lot of experience leveraging federal funds. So I think Kira's on the call as well.
Excellent. Kira, are you with us?
I am, yeah. Hi, this is.
Okay, great. Thanks. Good morning. Okay, is Buncombe County on the line? Oh. Sorry, just a housekeeping moment. If you aren't speaking, can you please mute your phone or computer so we don't get this background noise?
Oh, yeah, of course.
If you could please mute yourself, we'd really appreciate it. Buncombe County, is anybody on? Aisha or Tiffany? Okay, Charleston County. Is Christy on? Nope.
Yep, can you hear me?
Clark County. Oh, hey there. Is this Christy?
Yes, it is, and I'm the CJCC project director in Charleston, and MacArthur is our favorite source because right now they are our only.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Clark County, are you on with us this morning?
Yes, good morning. This is Rich Suey.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Rich Suey, I'm the SJC project coordinator for Clark County, and as of yesterday, the CJC.
Oh, congratulations. And your favorite funding source?
Funding sources in Clark Foundation and Clark County.
Oh, great. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Cook County? Michael or Rebecca on? Okay, how about East Baton Rouge Parish? Chris? Okay, how about Lake County? I think Donna Jo's on.
Hi, Donna Jo Mackey. I'm our project director for Lake County.
Mm-hmm.
And our favorite funding source besides MacArthur Foundation is we have a local philanthropic organization called the Healthcare Foundation of Northern Lake County that has helped bridge gap funding for us.
Great. Thank you so much. Minnehaha County? Erin, are you on with us? Okay, how about Multnomah? Is Abby or Sherry on? Nope. Okay, how about Palm Beach? I think I saw Bert earlier.
Yeah, hey, Bert Winkler from Palm Beach County. I'm the project director here, and our favorite funding source, of course, is the MacArthur Foundation.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bert. Pennington, Liz, I think you're on.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Liz Hassett. I'm the grant manager for the Safety and Justice Efforts locally. Aside from our county constituents, our favorite source is, of course, MacArthur.
Sorry, can you say that one more time for me? I didn't quite catch that.
Aside from our county funding, our favorite funding source is, of course, MacArthur.
Excellent, thank you. Pima County, is anybody on from Pima? Wendy? How about San Francisco? Tara? Okay, so it sounds like we have Allegheny, Charleston, Clark County, Lake County, Palm Beach, Pennington on the line. Did I miss anybody? Okay, excellent. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we also have some TA providers on the line, and I'll just go through the organizations again to make it easy for us. Justice System Partners, are you on the call?
Yes, this is Lori Jocelyn, Justice System Partners.
See, now
Great.
we should do that in Harris County. That would be literally, they're doing.
Okay, excellent. Is CCI on the line?
This is Olivia from CCA.
Hey, Olivia. If y'all could please mute yourselves again if you're not speaking on the actual computer or your phone, we'd appreciate it. Vera, is anyone from Vera on the call? I think I see Alex on there. April.
They're not.
I don't know.
There you go. We hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is Alex and Tara.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. JMI, I believe Robin, Amy, and maybe Tom?
Yep, that's correct. You've got Robin Washi, Amy Wickman, and Tom Eberly on the phone for Justice Management
Excellent.
Institute.
Thank you so much. Urban? Is anybody from Urban Institute on? Janine? No? And then PRA, do we have Travis, Ashley, or Lisa? I think I saw you all.
Yeah, this is Travis Parker, Ashley Kreider, Lisa May, Reggie Herder, and Matt Robbins.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. All right. Thank you so much. Really excited to get going here. Okay, so to kind of dig into why we're here today, so we'd like to talk about the sustainability project that we are working on here at the Justice Center and some of the overarching themes. So our goal with this project is really to help sustain the work and momentum of the SJC sites. As an organization, the Justice Center has a lot of experience providing technical assistance and are pretty familiar with some of the challenges in sustaining ideas and initiatives. And so we have built some tools and resources to support sustainability efforts, and we're really focused in this project on making federal funding more accessible to everybody. And so to do that, we're working on a draft of materials that we're going to talk about a little bit later, and we're building off of some of the work that we've done in other counties, and Hallie's going to take a few minutes to talk about that work in California. And so we really want to work to tailor the tools that we have, and we'll continue to build towards your sustainability goals. And as I mentioned before, we have our partners, NCJA, at the table who have significant experience in federal funding like Burn JAG and statewide strategic planning. And so I'd just love if Deb or Matt, you could take a few minutes to talk about your role and expertise if you're available.
Sure. Stephanie, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. This is Deb Matusi. I'm with the National Criminal Justice Association, and we, both Matt and I, bring expertise at that intersection between criminal justice and behavioral health. I worked as a boundary spanner between corrections and behavioral health in Montana, and Matt has worked in both the child welfare and juvenile justice system, so we hopefully can help provide some input to you at both ends of the spectrum, adults and kiddos. Both have a lot of grant experience and also finding that data that'll help you drive your project and hopefully sustain it and justify those dollars that you may need to go seek from other partners. So we're happy to help, and we'll be here as a resource for you throughout the project.
Thanks so much, Deb. And I think what will make the tools and this project really successful is if we can all work together. You know, I think it's really important for tools to be meaningful for the people that are using them. So your engagement in this project as SJC Sites is critical to the success of what we produce together. And so next, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done around sustainability planning. So Hallie, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, thanks.
Great. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm calling in from San Diego, which is where I live now. And we had started this sustainability project related to some work that we were doing under Stepping Up, which is the national initiative that we work on with the National Association of Counties and the American Psychiatric Association Foundation to reduce the number of people with mental illnesses in jails. So out here in California, we had a Stepping Up California Summit back in 2017. We had 53 of the 58 counties in the state send leadership teams to Sacramento for a day-and-a-half summit focused on reducing the number of people with mental illnesses in jails. And we heard a lot of enthusiasm. We also heard, and I don't think anyone here is going to be surprised, a lot of, and so how do you pay for it? And people weren't exactly precise about what the it was, but there was a lot of concern about if we're going to do something new, how do you pay for it? So we took up the challenge. We put together an advisory group that included experts in health financing, county executive, probation, sheriff's department, housing, as well as different state agencies to talk about that question. How are different counties paying for different aspects of diversion, in-jail services, and reentry? We put together, so we had advisors from large counties, small counties, share, their favorite funding sources, how they were paying for challenging to fund things. And one of the things, and altogether we identified about 70 different funding streams that could be used to pay for this sort of work, as well as brainstormed, and this is the picture that you see there, different ways to pay for challenging things. And put together the guide that is a picture of there, which is focused on how do you bring different groups together to articulate shared goals and pursue a funding strategy to further those shared goals. One of the things that was really sort of satisfying for us with this was after having this advisory group of really savvy people, at the end of the day, we asked, so has anybody heard of a new way of funding something? And every single person raised their hand. So I'm excited to take sort of what we learned out here and work with you all and our partners on the phone to expand that out for a national audience and really dive into some of the different federal funding sources that you all could be thinking about to continue the good work you're doing through the MacArthur Foundation. So I think one of my personal goals is that while we might not supplant MacArthur as your favorite funding source, we'll at least diversify so that there are more folks doing what Donna Jo saying, MacArthur and as we get to the end of this project. So Stephanie, I'll turn it back to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Hallie. So to kind of help us understand what some of the needs of the SJC sites are around sustainability to tailor our tools, it would be really helpful if we had a discussion on the call today to just talk about some general challenges we might be having with funding, any clever or savvy strategies that you all have been able to create around grants, and we will also turn to the live poll topics to kind of review some of those items. So So I'd love to open the floor to kind of talk about what are some high-level challenges you might be having with funding, whether it's around data or marketing or just identifying funding sources. So I'd love to be able to hear from the counties or any TA providers that have some insight here.
This is Liz Hassett in Pennington. One thing we've done is slowly brought on grant-funded positions and transferred them over to county funding. So, for example, in our diversion program, we had a young adult diversion program coordinator that was hired under MacArthur funds, and within the next year, they were actually under county funds. And we've done that a few times, and in our budget for 2020 and 2021, we are, kind of slowly transitioning individuals into county funds. We did that with our health and human services as well. They're available, so that way when we do reach the end of our funding relationship with MacArthur, we are not sitting there with, multiple staff that we don't really, that we have to go in front of the commission and ask for payment for. So that's kind of been our major, our funding source, or I guess our sustainability plan thus far.
Excellent. Thank you. Others? Any other challenges or clever strategies that you've been using?
This is Christy in Charleston. I don't know if I can say clever strategy, but I can sort of just share where we are. And that's been to work with our county finance director to start to plan to transition grant-funded positions off and onto recurring county funding streams. We started to do some cost-benefit analysis, but we're seeing some areas with a reduction in the jail population, other areas of the jail's budget increase. So that's probably not going to be a big sell factor for us. And then the other thing that we struggle with is, on one hand, we may be able to find a couple positions for different FTEs that are serving different functions. How do we do that in a manner that's going to help to have the appropriate CJCC authorization to keep us functioning and nimble long term? A play for positions, but more how do we really put this thing into written guidance and regulations so that we can keep serving the whole as we go forward.
Great, thank you. Great, other sites on the line?
This is Bert from Palm Beach.
Hey, Bert. Would you mind muting maybe your laptop or computer?
What?
The baby one yesterday.
Or lower the volume? Go ahead.
Do the volume. I'm doing it through the computer, so if I'm muted, I won't be able to talk. Take it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, any better?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'll go quick. We have a foundation, Quantum Foundation. We've been meeting with them regarding funding our frequent utilizer program. They're very interested, and we just submitted an LOI today and anticipate some funding from them by June.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to jump in? Okay, well, I think we'll turn over to the live poll really quickly, Eunice. Okay, and we're just going to kind of take a quick look at some of the responses that we got. We asked you a few questions. Eunice is just sharing the other screen, so give us 1 second. Excellent. Okay, and then can edit them out. Okay. So it looks like we got 4 responses today for this live poll, and so one of our questions was about staffing resources and who gets to work on managing the grant process. And so it looks like two of you have grant managers that are hired for this project, and one is funded by this project, and the other is you have existing staff. It was just like a new duty. So for those of you that were able to get a grant manager hired for this project, how are you able to secure those funds outside of your SJC grant? Or is that through your grant? Are they muted?
Would pass it. I'm funded through the grant.
Okay, thank you. Liz, you're funded through the grant? Okay. All right. Okay. So what looks really excellent is that all of you reported that you do have a mix of funding, so that's a great foundation for us to continue to build upon and leverage those strategies that you were able to implement to continue to diversify your funding. And part of NCJA's strength is working with the state administering agency, and so it looks like all of you have had some type of contact, even if it's just preliminary discussions around data with your SAA. So it's excellent that everybody's aware and has some form of working relationship that we can just continue to build upon. And then it looks like, you know, a lot of us have both baseline data around program and expenses, which is great, and we can just continue to build upon those practices in our efforts. Did anybody have any areas that they wanted to explore within these questions? Did they raise anything? Deb, do you have anything that you want to jump in on?
I don't have any questions. No, I think I'm just looking forward to the project. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Can you switch back? Okay, great. Thank you. Sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for filling out this poll. It really helps us understand kind of where we are and how we can continue to meet everybody where they're at. And it looks like we have some great assets to build upon in the project. So to talk a little bit more specifically about what we're actually creating within the project and the project plan, I'd like to talk through some of the resources and tools that we're developing. And so Thomas is currently leading the development of the Federal Funding Index. So Thomas, can you just take a few minutes and talk through that tool?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Stephanie. So the Federal Funding Index, which we've compiled between NCJA and the CSG Justice Center, is a collection of federal grant funding available to local governments. This is either through block grants, competitive grants, some additional mechanisms, as well as pass-throughs through the states. And we intend this to be a searchable tool, really to get people and local governments interested in further exploring the grants that we have found. And briefly, this includes broad issue areas, the common funding ranges, types of funding, and as well as both the common uses for this funding, as well as those typically very hard to fund areas. So for example, such as planning grants or rental assistance or jail treatment, things such as that. And we hope that the index is useful in the planning process that Stephanie will outline next. So Stephanie, I'll turn it over to you to talk through the guidebooks and those documents.
Great, thanks Thomas. So to complement the Federal Funding Index, we have created a series of tools called the guidebooks, and these tools really have the elements that will help us understand what's necessary for sustainability and where your site is in relation to these items, and will also help you understand how current funding is being used and identify new ways to apply these funds, with the ultimate goal of identifying a new funding source to support your SJC work. And there are 4 different tools that we are creating that build and flow into each other. So first we have a planning checklist that's really focused on readiness. Then we have a robust planning guide that really walks you through some key questions and activities that helps you build out a long-term sustainability plan. Then we have some summary worksheets that really synthesizes the key items from the planning guide and works to prioritize strategies for both interventions and funding. And then lastly, we have this interactive workbook, which is an Excel sheet with formulas that helps you calculate your investments across 3 years with the ultimate goal of identifying a funding plan. So as you can hear from this description, like the tools are really focused on readiness, planning support, and developing a 3-year fiscal plan. Does anybody have any questions at this point about the resources or our strategy around making federal funding more accessible through these solutions? No? Okay, well then I'll keep going. So in efforts to test the usability and content of these tools, we would love to run a pilot with one of you all that are with us today. And so to do this, we would love to have 1 or 2 days of on-site implementation in the last week of March or the first week of April. And we're envisioning a half-day work session, potentially with gathering all your partners around the table and working through these tools together. And then we would like to have some time to discuss feedback from the group on the content, the process, what worked, what do you feel like is missing, to help further inform the development of the tool so we can continue to tailor towards your goals around sustainability. And then something else we would like the pilot site to engage in with us is we are going to produce a case study that helps outline the pilot process and some of the tools that we have, and we would love to get your feedback as we produce that case study to make sure that we're capturing everything correctly. We highlight the strengths of your site and any insights you'd like to share with the field that helps other jurisdictions advance their sustainability efforts. And so to help us pick a site for the pilot, we would love to conduct some phone interviews with SJC sites. Anybody that's interested is welcome to engage in these phone interviews with us. And we would love to be able to host these interviews over the next 2 weeks. And we're really focused on ensuring that the pilot site is ready for engagement in this way and can also match the timeline that we're proposing. And so we would hope to announce the pilot site at our next webinar, which will be March 20th, 11 to 12, same time. We're going to talk just a bit about that on the next slide. But I'd like to know if anybody has any questions about the pilot or site selection process on the call today. Does anybody have any questions? Hey everybody, sorry, I was on mute there for a second. Did you all hear, oh my goodness, did you hear my discussion of the site selection?
Yes, Stephanie, we heard you, and we heard you ask if there were any questions.
Okay, great, thank you, sorry. So next steps. Is anybody interested in being a pilot site? Feel free to put that in the chat box or call out on the phone. And our next meeting is going to be March 20th, 11 to 12, and our focus is going to be really talking about the criminal justice funding and that NCJA is working on with Thomas. And if that time doesn't work, we can be sure to communicate offline via email and see if we can pick another date. And then we will also have a meeting in May where we're going to work to preview the tools that we created with the pilot site. And that is, we're determining when and where that can take place. So at this point, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to jump in with comments?
This is Christy in Charleston. I just have one question. Do you have like a little summary sheet about the pilot process that you can make available to us?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
And so if you're interested, I'd really love to know by like early next week, maybe by Wednesday, so we could get our phone interview scheduled. And just if that's a possibility, please let me know by Wednesday. And I'll send this summary sheet out today to the group. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, I really appreciate everybody's time this morning, and I really look forward to engaging with you all throughout this project. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give me a call. Everything's up on the screen there, and you also have my email from the communications I sent previously. Well, thank you all again. I hope you have a great Friday, and I look forward to connecting with you in the coming weeks. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.